um, double stops, or runs, they're called. If you talk to a slack key guitar player, they're called runs because you kind of run up and down the neck while you're alternating bass notes. That's a typical kind of a move on a slack key guitar that you'll see in here. And we can do the same kind of a thing on a ukulele. First, let's talk about, we're on page 67 right now on Jason's Ukulele Book. If you want, you can download Jason's Ukulele Book from lahinamusicmaui.com. What's a double stop? Well, what's a single stop? I guess is the first question. Single stop is just, nobody calls it a single stop. It would just be a scale. So we're playing a scale on one string and stopping at one point at a time. Easy enough, right? Normally you wouldn't play a scale on one string. Normally you'd play a scale across all sorts of strings, right? Because it's easier and faster and you don't have to move up and down the neck. Why would you move up the neck? Well, if you're trying to play 2 points on a scale at one time, you have to be on different strings, because you can't play that note and that note at the same time on one string if you only have one string. If it were just a one-string instrument, you couldn't do that. Because we have 2 strings, we can play that note and that note at the same time by putting them on different strings, right? We could play a C scale all alone on this string, starting on the E, the third note of the scale. Would sound like that. Those notes are written out on page 67, by the way. That would be the second diagram on page 67. Then the third diagram on page 67, we put all those notes together. You got that one and 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 that one. And you're like, how in the world am I ever going to remember that? It looks like chaos. But in the last diagram on page 67, hopefully you'll see it's not chaos. There's a really distinct pattern to it. And the pattern is 2 shapes. One shape, we're going to call it a straight because it's straight up and down. I don't have to use my finger there because the nut's doing it. It's the 0 fret, right? That's called a straight. The next shape is called a slant. It's called a slant because it's kind of diagonal. 2nd fret here and 1st fret here. That's called the 2nd degree of the scale. This is the 3rd degree of the scale. Same shape as the other one, right? Then above that we have another straight, and the fingering here is important. Keep your middle finger there and use your ring finger underneath. The trick to these scales is keep your middle finger on the 3rd string. Straight. After that we have another straight on the 7th fret. Then above that we have a slant and a slant and another straight. So the way to remember this pattern is straight, slant, slant, straight, straight, slant, slant, straight. There's only 2 shapes in the whole pattern, to keep it simple. And every time you see a shape, it occurs in 2s, except if it's the starting or the ending point of the scale. So this one occurs, the straight here, as a single. Then we have 2 of those, 2 of those, 2 of those, and then a single at the top. So once you understand the pattern to it, you no longer have to think in terms of what fret numbers am I supposed to be on the 6th degree of the C major scale and double stops on the 2 center strings. Like, I don't know. I mean, I could figure it out, the 9th and the 8th fret, but that's not how we're thinking when we play it. We're not thinking 9th and 8th fret, 7th and 7th fret, and we're also not thinking about what are these 2 notes. We're not thinking A and a C, and then I need to play a G and a B, and then I'm going to play F and a A, and then I'm going to play a C and a G. That's not how you think about it when you play it in real play. I mean, I can describe those notes, I could tell you what the frets are, I could tell you what the notes are, but that's not how we play it. You play the pattern. Just like when you walk, you're not thinking, okay, I need the GPS coordinate for my left foot. I'll put it down. Okay, now I need the GPS coordinates for my right foot, or the latitude and the longitude, or the minutes and all that. I don't understand all that. But that's not how you think when you walk. You just go left, right, left, right, left, right. It's a pattern. You can walk down a path, you can walk down a sidewalk, walk down a street, walk along the wing of an airplane. If you're allowed to do so, you can walk anywhere you want to, except the ceiling. No. Okay. So you learn how to walk up the double stop run, and it really, really simplifies it. So these are used all over the place in Hawaiian songs. And not only Hawaiian songs, it's used all over the place in music. This is one of those fundamentals of music. For example, that might sound familiar. Or that might sound familiar. How do you use them, though? How do you make them sound good? Well, there's the trick. So before you do this section of the book, the reason we put this way out on page 67 is because we assume that you already learned how to do simpler stuff first. So basic soloing would recommend getting really good with simpler types of scales first before you try to tackle a double stop scale. However, the next pages will begin to describe how to do it. If you look, we're going to skip a bunch of good information on page 68, but you can read that because you have the book, you can read it. Page 69, it begins to talk about Roman numerals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you look in the middle diagram on page 69, you'll see that the 1 is the straight is a 1, and it's a capital 1 Roman numeral. And then the 2 and the 3, the ones that are slants, are lowercase Roman numerals. And then the next two that are straights are, again, capital Roman numerals. What's going on there? Why is the 1 and the 4 and the 5 capital? And you might think, God, that's familiar. The 1 and the 4 and the 5. Didn't Jason talk about that before back on page, I don't know, 21 or something? Yeah, in that section of the circle of fifths and the Conacapilla chord chart. And the fundamentals of music and how songs are put together. Now, so many songs are 1 and 4 and 5 chords. And then a smattering of other chords, depending upon what flavor you want to make your song. But the most important structures of a song are the 1, the 4, and the 5. And those are majors. And the other ones, the slants, happen to be minors. And if you're a music major, or if you're a music minor, it's still the same. That this is a major third. That's called a minor third. That's called a minor third. Major third. Major third. Minor third. Minor third. And then a major. That's a fundamental. If you just walk up a piano keyboard and play, for example, all the white keys, you play C and E, D and F, E and G, F and A, G and B, A and C, B and D, C and E. Together, it's just, you make this pattern. It's like jun, 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 jun. It's hard to sing two notes at the same time, but if I did, it would be like this. Makes you want to go film a piano keyboard, but it's not a piano class. But that's a good way of thinking at it. If you know anything about a piano keyboard, that would be a good reference. And if you don't worry about it. The principle's still the same. Okay, bottom of page 69, we have a chart that begins to sort of put these together and the emotions associated with them. Generally, major thirds sound happy. Minor thirds sound, by comparison, sad. They're not like, oh my God, I'm crying sad, but like that would be a major, that would be a minor, for example. Okay, let's move on to page 70 here. More information here about why knowing the pattern is important. And one way of looking at it is if you try to memorize all the dots on those diagrams, each one of those diagrams has 16 dots, and we've already been through 6 diagrams or something, so that's 16 dots times 6 diagrams times how much do you have to remember now? It's like, it's like I'm not that smart. You might be that smart. I'm not that smart. So I look at it as the pattern. You memorize a pattern, and you don't have to memorize where all the dots are anymore. You just know the pattern. Page 71 is an important takeaway from this then. If you know how to play this in the key of C, which is what we've done so far, you could also play it in any other key. And the way you do it is not by thinking, okay, I need this fret and this fret together. You just run the pattern. So the pattern before in the key of C was C, right? Straight, slant, slant, straight, straight, slant, slant, straight. What if you do it in the key of D? It's the same exact pattern. It's just that instead of starting here, we have to start here. So we're going to start on the 2nd fret. That's our 1st degree of the scale now. It's a straight. So what's the next 2 shapes? Slant. How many of them? 2 of them. What's the next shape? It's back to straight. How many of them? 2 of them. What's the next shape? Slant. How many? 2 of them. And we get back to the top of the scale where there's a single. And by the way, if we wanted to go past that, we could. After the straight, what would it be? That's the beginning of the scale again, so it would have 2 slants. Then what would we have? 2 straights. And if we could go beyond that, we'd have 2 slants and a straight. Somewhere up in there, right? But we don't normally play up there. You have to get a slide or something, and that would only be for being silly and showing off. Nobody plays there except if I'm trying to outdo my son on a ukulele, I'll do whatever I have to do because it gets harder and harder to do it. I think he's merciful on me most of the time now. But double stops, really useful. Key of D, same pattern. Yeah, what fret am I on here? I don't know. I could figure it out. I mean, it's the 9th fret, but that's not how I'm thinking. What's the position above this? What fret numbers are they? I don't know. I mean, I can figure it out what they are. That's the 11th fret and the 10th fret, but that's not how I'm thinking. That's not how I got there. It's a pattern. Straight, slant, slant, straight, straight, slant, slant, straight. What if I'm in the key of E flat? Heaven forbid I have to play in the key of E flat, right? Can I play in the key of E flat? Sure, if I wanted to. What would be next? That one, I guess. So it would be like this. Don't play in the key of E flat a whole lot. But if I need to play double stops in the key of E flat, that's easy. It's the same as every other key. It's like, where do I have to start? Where's the E flat? Once you know where the E flat is, your starting point, make a straight. That's your 1st degree, 2nd degree, 3rd degree, 4th degree, 5th degree, 6th degree, 7th degree. What frets am I on? I don't know. I'm playing the pattern, right? It's the 14th and the 13th for those of you who are like, you should know what frets they are. But I'm telling you, that's when we play these, we're not thinking about that. You're just running the pattern. I can't emphasize that enough, so I keep emphasizing it again, right? Okay. What if we move up to the key of F? Where is a F? There's a F. So the straight there, that's your starting point for F. And if I go up above here, that's my starting point. So if I go up, I have, what's my next shape? It's going to be a slant, and how many of them? There's going to be 2, right? So straight, slant, slant, straight, straight, right? Let's work our way back down to F. This is the top diagram on page 72, by the way, where we are. Can I go below this? And the answer is yes, we can. From a starting point of a straight, if I go down, what's the next shape? It's going to be the other shape, slant. How many of them? 2. Below that's going to be what? A straight. How many of them? Well, there would be 2, except I ran out of space. Is there a way to go lower than that? Yes, there is, but we have to switch to a different string, and that's a different page of the book that explains how to do that. So we're going to set that aside for the moment. For now, we'll just say we ran out of space. Until we do a trick I learned from Uncle Edward Kapana, watching him play, and went, oh, I see how to do that now. Different page. It's called off-ramps. I call it off-ramps because it's like you're on one highway, and then you got to transfer to another highway to go farther. So you can go up from your starting point or down from your starting point. Now, if you look at the F diagram, it looks a lot like the diagram for C, like back on page, if you compare 72 to, well, 71, where C is written out. They look really, really similar, except on the 7th fret, instead of it being a straight, it's a slant on a 7 and 6. But it's really, really similar, right? And the reason why that is because a C scale has these notes, an F scale has these notes. It's got a B flat in F because that's the start of the scale. So there's only one note different between a C scale and an F scale if you just play a single scale. And by the way, there's only one note different between a C scale and a G scale, which all ties back into the circle of fifths back on page wherever it was, 22 through 26 or something in the book. The reason why those chords are so close together in the circle of fifths is because their scales are really similar. So it can get a little confusing if you just look at the diagram, but if you just think in terms of what's my starting point, let's say our starting point is G. Where's a G on this string? There's our G, right? 7th fret. So we make a straight there. That's our starting point. Can I go down from here? Sure. Can I go up from here? Sure. What would the pattern be in either direction? If this is my starting point, it's a straight. The next shape's going to be slant, slant, and then after that it's going to be straight, straight, and after that it's going to be slant, slant, and then another ending point of a straight. Unless I run out of space up here, I run out of space down here. Okay, page 72 introduces or reintroduces, because I think I talked about it earlier in the book as well, this concept of consonance and dissonance. Consonance and dissonance are really fundamentals of music, although a lot of people, if you're not studying music, they don't think of those terms. Anything that matches up with one of the notes of a chord could be called consonant. For example, if I play a C chord, like this, the notes that make up a C chord are C, and E, and a G. In this case, a low G. And this is just another C on top. So there's 3 notes that make up a C chord, a C, an E, and a G. If I'm playing a C or an E or a G, I'm consonant with a C chord. If I'm playing some other note, I am not consonant with a C chord. The opposite of consonant is dissonant. And how dissonant am I? Well, that varies. If, for example, if I play this note and this note and this note and this note at the same time, what is that? That makes a C6 chord. So adding the 6th note to a C chord doesn't like make a major clash. It just makes a C6 chord, but it's ever so slightly dissonant. Just dissonant enough to be interesting. But what if I put this note in there? So I've got a C, E, G, and that one. That's going to sound really, really weird. That's going to sound like this. It's going to want to resolve to that. It's going to, that's just, I should almost make a different lesson on consonance and dissonance to really understand that. Yeah, I'll do that. And for this one, we'll let this one be because we're coming up on close to 20 minutes, I think. And so we'll let this one ride where it is and guide you through the beginning of double stops. And then we'll explain more about how to do it, picking up consonance, dissonance, and creativity, and all those notes in between, and the difference between thirds and sixths, and strategies for success. We'll make that in another video once you've mastered where these positions are and you can play up and down and up and down, and you can get good at playing it in different keys, up the scale, down the scale. Then we'll make another video on how to use them. Maybe is a good idea, so I'll do that. All right, hope that's helpful. Aloha. Aloha, here we are at Wahikuli on Maui. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave a comment. Let us know what you like. That'll help other people find the video, which is pretty cool. If we can help you out with anything else, you can leave a comment about that also. Or click the like button. If you'd like to see our other videos, you can click the subscribe button. That'll get you access to the other videos we produce for free. And if you want to be notified of when we make a new video, you can even click that bell else I can help you with, feel free to contact me or come visit us in person if you're ever on Maui. Just look up Lahaina Music, you'll find me there. Oh, we have a ukulele book also, if that's useful to you. Check out Jason's Ukulele Book. You can download it from our website, lahainamusicmaui.com. Until then, God bless you. Aloha. Have a wonderful day. Spread the joy and the love. Aloha. I love it here.